a countdown. Oh, there's no countdown. We're live. I guess I'm still learning how this goes. Hey, everybody. This is Carl Gladstone. I'm here with another episode of Reverb. Today, we are talking with Anne Hawthorne and some other folks who we will meet in a second about Kid City out in Los Angeles, and is a program of, Anne, help me out.
The Los Angeles United Methodist Urban Foundation and First United Methodist Church of Los Angeles.
Perfect. Well, we are excited about all the kinds of programs that gather youth, young people, our local churches, and communities in good efforts together. And we just wanted to hear a little bit more about what was going on with Kid City. And would you introduce us to our guests?
Sure, I would love to. I have right here in the middle is Alma Sanchez. Alma was our very first person to graduate from college. She graduated from UC Berkeley about a year ago. And so I'm really happy to have her here to talk to you. Right. And here in the blue, we have Ricardo Alcantara. I've known Ricardo also for a few years now, and he is he helps us out a lot. Every time I need good volunteers, I call these two.
Great. Well, tell us a little bit about what Kid City is in its kind of day-to-day, and then maybe a little bit, Alma and Ricardo, about how you particularly got engaged with this program.
Yeah, so I'll start out by just saying that we started Kid City about 7 years ago in response to a need of 5 kids in the church who needed an after-school program. And it kind of, based on them and their friends and people who came in from the neighborhood, it kind of blossomed and grew. And what we found out was the real need was to help students get into college, to help first-generation students from communities in and around downtown whose families had never been to college, to really help them with applications and access. And the first student, who was a church member, got into Cal State Northridge. The next year, there were 4 more. And here we are about 7 years later. We've got 200 students in college who are part of our program, and another 50 students here every week during the week. They're high school students. It's college application season right now. So the upstairs, we're right now in the downstairs. We're kind of in the Zen zone down here because it's quiet. It's where we have our music programs. The upstairs is full of people getting mentoring, help with their applications, math tutoring, and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of what we do every day. And we also realized that once people started getting into college, that they would need some support to figure out how to maneuver and negotiate and get through all the different obstacles that are often insurmountable for students. Everybody thinks of California as a higher education state, but actually we have, I was learning yesterday that we're, I think, 36th or 39th in the country in terms of high school graduations, and even worse on college graduations. So we really have a need here in California to get more serious and dynamic and great leaders. You know, what we do is we see these students when they're in high school, and we know that we can recognize that they're committed to their studies, that they're involved in their communities, and we just want to make sure that they have access to all the opportunities that other people have.
Yeah. So, Alma, how did you first hear about this opportunity?
So my brother is currently at UC Berkeley, and that's because Kid City helped him apply and get into Berkeley and get acquainted with the college application process. So I first heard about it through him. And I first became involved as a volunteer in the summer of 2013. And during that summer, I co-facilitated, along with other high school graduates, a peer mentoring class, which was assigned to demystify the higher education process to high school students who are mostly from, who are first in the family to go to college and from low-income backgrounds, and mostly from the South Central Los Angeles area, downtown, Chinatown area of LA.
Did you say demystify?
Yes, because I'm first generation as well, and there's a lot of things I did not know. No one in my family has gone to college. I'm the first one, and for me, applying to college was challenging just because I couldn't understand the information that was presented to me, and if it was presented to me in the first place. So I think a lot of first generation college students experienced something very similar. So Kid City was there to help them understand the terms of college application, financial aid forms, and along with my peers, we facilitated a workshop for 7 weeks in the summer.
It sounds like you kind of became a translator, not necessarily of a written or spoken language, but of this kind of cultural language, yes?
Yeah, something like
Nice.
that.
And Ricardo, how did you first get connected with Kid City?
I sort of came in as a clueless community college student because I didn't really know what I wanted to pursue in college. I just sort of joined because it was I guess, norm around my community with high school, my peers, everybody I went to high school with. They decided to go to different institutions. They went to Cal State universities here. They went to universities of California. They went out of state. So I just decided to join what I perceived to be the best community college in the area, which was Santa Monica College. It's about maybe 12 miles from downtown LA. When I first came here, I came for a community college meeting about, the discussion was that you didn't have to attend the community college for 2 years necessarily, if you can understand that. Some of the people that came were people that, one of my mentors, who also happens to be a previous SMC student, her name is Alma Catalan. She knew them, and they're about maybe 30 years old or so. And each one of them took more than 2 years. And that sort of inspired me to keep going because it sort of let me know that I don't have to complete it in 2 years. If for whatever reason, economic struggles, if my indifference or sort of not knowing what major I wanted to pursue or what career I wanted to pursue, that would not hold me back. It doesn't matter how much time it would take, but I would get there. And I sit before you 3 years later, sort of with an associate's in transfer from Santa Monica.
Nice. It sounds like there's casting a vision here along with demystifying. You're also casting a vision for this kind of ongoing pursuit, yeah, of higher education.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Ricardo is applying to transfer this fall. So he'll be enrolling in a 4-year institution within a year.
Nice. Have you ever looked at Albion College in the middle of Michigan cornfield?
I've never really considered out of state because I hear it's kind of pricey, but I'll take a look at it.
Just giving a pitch for my my alma mater. Well, that's great. Anne, can you speak a little bit to how did this kind of thing become the happenings at this local church building? How did the church grab into this?
I'm telling you, it started with the first 5 kids in our church who needed a place to go after school. They had after school programs in elementary and junior high, and they got to high school and they're like, what do we do after school? There's no after school program. So, with a couple dollars and a prayer, we started Kid City, and it was really them and their families who wanted us to provide academic enrichment. And, it was just really, to make a long story short, it was in response to a community need. And what we have found out since, as we've become really quite expert in the field of college access and college success, is that there are thousands and thousands of students who have all the grades and requirements necessary to enter a 4-year college or to go to a community college and transfer, but they get lost along the way. And our state and our country really needs exactly these kind of people. They're very family oriented. They're very serious about studying despite all the obstacles that are thrown in their way. And we just feel as a church and as a community that's our responsibility to reach out and support these amazing young people who bring so much goodness and vitality into our lives. They give back so much just by their very presence. So it's really the least we can do to help. We talk a lot about educational equity here. And what are all the ways that people with money have support and access that other people don't? So what we try to do here at Kid City is, well, we can't equalize everything, but we can try to give everybody a fair chance.
Sure. Now, the Methodist Church has two historic, things that they've done with higher education that seem to come to mind. It'd be interesting to get y'all's reflection about it. On the one hand, we were a church that just went out and tried to help people learn to read and write in the early days of the Methodist movement, that Christian education was kind of helping people learn to read. And they happened to use the Bible, to do it. So this kind of dedication to the learning piece, the academic piece. And this kind of second piece, which some in our circles might be more familiar with, this kind of idea of campus ministries, the Wesley Foundation on campus. Is Kid City, do people think of it like a campus ministry? Do they think of it like a kind of a local program or an education program or some kind of hybrid of both of those?
We're kind of a weird hybrid, honestly. And it wasn't until literally last month I went to Nashville to the General Board of Higher Ed, and I started thinking, oh my God, this is what we're doing. Yeah. This is what we're doing. We're actually a campus ministry program with 200 students in colleges all over California and the country. So I'm, in the past, we've thought of ourselves as kind of more of a nonprofit with support with strong support of a local church. Mm-hmm. But we're really trying to determine who it is we are. And we're talking about some exciting possibilities, some dreams and vision that we have. And one is, I haven't told you guys yet, and this is really, we're in the dreaming.
Oh, like exclusive. I like it.
Yeah. What if we were to build some affordable housing for community college students?
Yeah.
Here in downtown LA. And what if we were to open up a little coffee shop? Like
Ricardo's smiling. He might move in.
Yeah. Yeah, because, community college students, it's, one of the huge obstacles is people tend to think, and this is tend to people with more wealthier people think, well, it's great, you can save money, you can live at home. Well, a lot of these students, they have to help support their families. So there are real costs involved with going to community college, and some of the kids do need to have an experience of living away from home. So I'm thinking, what if we were to build affordable housing for community college students and really construct kind of a campus center here in downtown LA, a spiritual center as well as a center of support and a community of care.
Yeah.
But that I do want to say, that's actually what except for the living part, that's what we have. That's how we see ourselves here, is we see ourselves a place where students can stop in anytime and get food and a hug and care, and then we'll ask them to clean up.
Sure, share. Like my 2-year-old even helps clean up around the house.
Yeah.
Alan and Ricardo, was this
all the time?
I wonder, was this an introduction to church people for you guys, or did it give you any insights into church people? Those weird people that'll paint their basement and start a thing and invite you to dinner.
Yeah, definitely. I personally grew up Catholic, so my idea of religion and church was very geography-wise, like within like communities Catholic Church and
in your parish.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
And I think Kid City definitely opened my eyes more to what churches can do, because I remember attending a immigration conference where the United Methodist Church was one of the collaborators for the conference, but there were other religious leaders there, and I also volunteered there. And it really opened my eyes to see how collaborative different religions can be, and all towards like the same, trying to solve the same issue of um, immigration and immigrants in the workforce and problems immigrants face within that area. So it's really nice to see, and yeah, I had never experienced something like that.
That's good to hear. I think that if there's one thing that I keep hearing from young people, it's they wish that the church would be focused on something more than just its own functioning, you know. And when people can come together around this issue in the world that lots of people around the globe know about, whether it's clean water or immigration or anything like that, you start to tap into the kind of the shared concern of the whole world, and you can meet a lot of good people and make good partnerships, and I think that's really healthy for the church. I'm glad that's part of what you've experienced.
I think also just I want to interject that there are real serious issues, as we all know, that our world is confronting right now. And imagine being a young person in high school or college and going into this world. And that's why I feel that it's so important for the church to be involved in this work and help guide people in this very, very fragile period of their lives when they're figuring out what to do and how to prepare and how to take care of their family and ensure their future. But also, how do we embrace them in a way that we have hope for the future? Because, we, the older generation, it's our responsibility to really pave the way. So from my point of view, this is the most important work that the church does.
Yeah. Yeah. Ricardo, did you gain some insight about church people? Did you both attend some churchy conferences like Alma talked about?
Church.
Well, Ricardo has been with me to a number of different churches because he helps go with me and talk, and the annual conference. So I don't know which one of those you want to talk about.
I guess sort of speaking out with the churches, it's letting them be aware of what Kid City is, but also I get to see how this sort of spirituality goes beyond just like religion. It goes to like establishing a community around people around you. It goes beyond like race, sort of religion in a way, because there's no strict adherence to Methodism, right? I mean, I'm sort of agnostic, and I can still go to United Methodist Church and feel like I'm comfortable there.
Yeah,
it feels like a community establishment.
So you head out. You're giving these sermons that are calling people into, again, calling them outside of themselves and seeing the good that can happen there. I mean, gosh, annual conference is one of the most Methodist things you ever will see in your whole life, you know. Yeah. And you've got this message that's kind of drawing more out of that body than just what they already do well, which is like committee work and potlucks.
Our annual conference is in Redlands every year, where it's about 100 and a zillion degrees of heat, and we're out at the Urban Foundation booth talking to people and trying not to pass out from heat stroke. But I think it's been really interesting for Ricardo. I took him to Holly Park United Methodist Church as a very traditional African-American congregation that just received us with beautiful open arms.
Very spiritual, very spiritual.
Oh yeah, there was something about it?
Yeah, very. They were very welcoming, very receptive to what we had to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sort of relates to what I said about the going beyond race, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we also went to Wilshire United Methodist Church, which is a Korean congregation, and we have a lot of support from Centenary United Methodist Church in Little Tokyo, which is a traditional Japanese American. So here in LA, it's a very, very diverse United Methodist Church, and it's kind of fun, really, to take the students around to these different churches.
And you start to see a little bit about how in the church we can really build these amazing communities around some kind of affinity, right? I mean, Alma, you've mentioned churches that are organized kind of around geography, and in some ways that can be that. But then you have these amazing cultural locations, these churches that speak boldly from the African American experience or the Korean American experience or first generation, Korean speaking congregations. That up in our neck of the woods, that's what we have a lot of diversity that way. And there's something kind of honorable about making sure that people have a place to speak that kind of cultural language authentically. I think it's in the connection points that we make. In the Methodist world, we do that kind of systematically. We have these conferences and we all come together and we make decisions and we pray for each other and that kind of thing. But there's also these other meeting grounds out there in the academic world, right? Supporting each other through the pursuit of higher education. Missional projects that are happening in the world, awareness and consciousness raising. We were just down in Dallas and doing some thought about how young United Methodists might respond to ongoing violence as it relates particularly to African American young men and the police, right? And trying to really think about how we can all get together in that space and think and pray through that.
Yeah, it's very, very important. And our colleagues at Holman United Methodist Church and others are quite active in that Black Lives Matter. And there's just not time in the day to involve everyone here, but we do try to whenever we possibly can.
So I'll ask all three of you, and Anne, I hope that you will that you're thinking along these lines even now. But in the future, when academic pursuits are completed and there's this kind of next era of your life, what is it that you're feeling that this experience is kind of drawing you towards, that you maybe in surprising ways that you didn't think you would be heading previously?
That's a good question. That's a question for these two, I think.
You get to answer it third, though.
Okay.
I mean, in the long term, my career goals in the long term are to become a director on a campus multicultural center or academic counseling center. I'm actually applying to master programs at the moment throughout the East Coast, within LA. But I think Kid City has helped me develop as a leader. As I previously said, I started as a volunteer and now I'm a program assistant at Kid City, and it's definitely given me the space to grow and challenge myself as a leader. And yeah, I've learned a lot, and I always consider Kid City as my second home, and I still do even once I graduated from college. So I'm always willing and looking for ways to give back to Kid City. They've done a lot for me already.
I know a small Methodist-related school named Albion College that was recently in the hiring process for a multicultural affairs director.
Oh,
yeah!
Look at that!
Right?
We got it right here. Albion College.
Ricardo, how about you? What are you feeling that you're feeling called toward, kind of through this whole Kid City and school process?
I mean, what is the term you called it? Educational
equity.
Yeah, educational equity. Mm-hmm. I really, really believe that education should be a sort of universal, pursuit, not just for people in for K through 12, maybe community college, just higher ed, that they can learn throughout their life and be perceptive to new things. Because I mean, the way I look at it is that everybody else knows something that you don't. So you can't just discredit somebody just because they're in a certain career path or a certain job or a certain trade. You sort of have to be perceptive to other people's experiences. Maybe they can teach you something you might want to know or might need to know later on. So with education, I feel like I want to pursue a career in maybe being a high school teacher.
Sure. Yeah.
And be a professor later on also.
Nice. Yeah. It's interesting that we live in a time where you can get on iTunes U or TED Talk videos or Khan Academy and have this amazing kind of educational experience without really even having to get dressed in the morning if you want. And I wonder if that's continuing to open up that possibility for people. And Ricardo, folks like you in the middle of people's lives saying, hey, take advantage here of these opportunities, and you can really go places.
Definitely.
Well, Anne, maybe the way to ask you a similar question, as you've experienced Kid City and the other programs that you work on there through the foundation, what kind of new places are you feeling called to, even beyond what you're doing now?
Well, I love Kid City. It's in my heart and soul. The kids have just been such a blessing in my life. And so we want to keep it going, but we really want to share this kind of work with other churches and other community organizations. And really, my vision is an intergenerational vision of how can we bring in retired people of means to, how can we always cross these sort of artificial boundaries that we put ourselves in regards to race and income level and area of the city where you live. How can we garner our resources as an older generation to really support young people? I think that there's tremendous opportunity in the United Methodist Church because of our connectional nature and because of what you talked about, the Wesleyan traditions of education. And that really aligns right now with the big movement in this country and a need for education. So there is a big movement in this country to expand access to college and ensure that those who get into college actually finish, and furthermore, that they graduate. And I think in a way, colleges are it's what we can measure, how many get into college, how many graduate, etc. But really what we're going for is a deeper cut. We're really going for how do we inculcate in people a care for their community and an understanding to come back to the community and lift each other up? How do we recognize all the many resources and assets in our communities? And I know from working in the communities we work with here at Kid City that there's tremendous assets and resources that sometimes go unrecognized and untapped. It's just to me, it's a crime when you have students who have done well all through school, all through high school. They graduate from high school, they've been accepted into college, and then because they can't afford a $100 housing deposit or a $200 airfare out to Yale, that they are unable to go to college. To me, it's our responsibility. And what I would love to see, and what we are constantly trying to bring in, is more of a pastoral presence here. It's a stressful time. This has been a long, hot summer with the election and the shootings and the climate change, and it's a really stressful time. So I think that there is really a place for the church, and that we this year we are at First Church without a pastor, and what has happened in that is I've recognized how important it is for us to have a pastor. We really need a pastor here, because there's more that goes on. So we talk about education and college, but what we're really talking about is something deeper, and to me, very spiritual. And to me, education is very spiritual. So I don't know if that rambling answer helps, but I really would like to see the church step forward and fully support campus ministry, fully support college students, and for every single church to somehow be involved with the young people in their community.
That sounds like a grand vision. I'm glad that you guys are casting it and living it out. Before we let you go, we always like to try to get a couple of quick questions in just about kind of what life is like. So just off of the top of your head, you guys ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, 3 or 4. Okay. Number 1, what's the takeout food or restaurant that you have to have on a real long late night study session?
Food. I really like Subway. It's
Nice.
yeah,
You can go anywhere then. They're everywhere, right?
yeah. We have quite a few 24-hour ones around here in downtown LA. So
For that 3 a.m. sandwich
pretty.
artist made sandwich. Alma, you got one?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking back when I was in school, and my favorite late night food was Top Dog, which was the local restaurant in Berkeley, and they served hot dogs, and my favorite was the apple chicken sausage.
Oh, I'm gonna come visit. Definitely. What's one thing that people assume about the Los Angeles area that they get wrong?
That nobody takes public transit.
Oh, there's public transit.
Because
Yeah,
we're all on it.
Yeah.
We're all on it. We all take the train, and Ricardo's a big bicycle rider.
Oh yeah, that's great to know. My 2-year-old, he'd love it. He loves trains and trolleys and everything. So awesome. Up here in Detroit, I work with a Motor City Wesley Foundation, which is the Methodist campus ministry here in town, and we do micro grants for student projects. So, question for you guys is: if somebody handed you $100 bill and said you have to use this for a conspiracy of goodness, what might you do with it?
I have a ready answer, but I'd like to hear yours.
Well, we're talking right now. I'm co-teaching a college prep class with about 30 students each week, and we would really love to take them out for a self-care day because they're very stressed out already.
Nice.
So I would go for them for an ice cream or boba nearby, go see a movie just to relax and not think about college apps for an hour or two.
Just take a break. I love it. Ricardo, get one?
I would probably buy them a nice meal.
Yeah.
Like one big nice meal for the whole entire group.
Have a moment, right?
You can see that food is very important. We
Yeah.
don't do anything without food here. And one of the great things about Kid City is the food, because we have parents. We first of all, I want to make it clear that we don't charge at all. We do have a small registration fee, but it is very optional.
Mhm.
And instead what we do is we ask families to donate. So we have the best enchiladas. We have the best tacos. We have really good food.
Oh, then I'm definitely coming to visit. I mean, we
Yeah,
live in
you
Southwest Detroit, which has some pretty good tamales and things, and even a pupuseria. But it sounds like I need to come and visit.
Well, that's when it's funny that they said Subway and hot dogs, because what I hear from students who go away to college is, "Oh my God, I need a taco!" Because we have the best tacos in LA.
Well, friends, thanks so much. Thanks for telling us a little bit about the story of Kid City, and we'll be thinking and praying for you in all of your upcoming adventures in life and missional endeavors. And thanks so much for introducing us. And is there any place that people can go to find out more about what's going on with Kid City, other programs, and support what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So our website is urbanfoundation.org, and Kid City is urbanfoundation.org/KidCity. But I invite you there. We also have a Kid City Hope Place Facebook page, and that's where you can see all our very current events and current happenings. And we have an Urban Foundation page too that has all our programs. And I'd also just like to say, if anybody likes our vision and what we're doing here, we do accept donations, and we could use support. We're probably one of the smallest budget college access programs probably in the country, but one of the best. I really believe that what we're doing here is fantastic, and so if anybody wants to support us, we are open to gracefully receive.
If you find yourself putting some tacos in a freeze-dried container, maybe just write a check.
Yeah.
And mail it to them. Well, thanks again for chatting tonight, and blessings in everything you're doing.
Thank you so much, Carl. Thank you.
Okay, friends, that was the edit point. So that was
Also
great.
live.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're still live, but again, nobody's watching, so it's fine. So I think I was just scheduling things out, and so let me look at my calendar. I think I have us going live. We've actually have this little backlog right now, so I think it's going to be actually December 2nd. I hope that's okay.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and once it's up and everything, I'll be sending you guys links. We might go ahead and put the video up on the YouTube page so that you could share that with people if you'd like.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And then the audio then will go out on December 2nd through the podcast feed. Okay.
Okay. Well, this is just really wonderful talking to you, Carl. We sincerely would love for you to visit.
Yeah, that sounds great. I have this amazing area of the country that I'm technically hired to cover. Unfortunately, It only goes as far west as North Dakota. But yeah, we just went to a wedding in Sonoma, so.
Oh yeah.
There are some places, times when we
I'm actually so disappointed that I didn't, when I was in Detroit. I mean, I wish I had known about Motor City before I had gone, because I would have loved to visit your program and see what you're doing with campus ministry.
It's been fun. It's been this interesting kind of innovative startup phase for extended period, but we're having a lot of fun. We're doing our fall retreat in just a couple weeks, so.
One thing that we didn't tell you is, were you part of planning the winter retreat? No. So we had some students over the summer, some college students come back, because really our whole summer program is now college students coming back to volunteer to teach different courses.
Yeah.
A couple of them have designed a 2.5-day winter retreat at one of our Methodist camps. So we're going to have a retreat for all our college students right before Christmas.
Nice. Is that like a curriculum and stuff, or what?
Yeah, they designed the whole curriculum.
Nice.
I'm sure it's way better than what I could have done. So I a couple.
Well, if you're interested in sharing it, we've been putting together these. We kind of have this track of we call them third space studies, so kind of theological discussion guides that people are doing in pubs and restaurants and kind of out there kind of things, and we'd be happy to kind of bring some attention.
Is that the moyoliving.org?
Oh, we're friends with them. Moyo is great because taking this kind of how can you be involved in some scriptural study and conversation, but that leads to action in the world.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. I just discovered it myself.
Yep, it's great, and I don't even use it enough. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's there, it's ready to go. It looks beautiful. It's everything it really needs to be. I think it just needs more attention. That's all.
Just more people to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What does Moyo stand for?
I don't know. Are they just playing off of like YOLO or something? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Do you guys know what Moyo is? There a thing? No, I don't know.
Is it a thing? They might have come up with it like a branding company. Like, hey, it's punchy. Let's do it.
Moyo living. I don't know.
Or yourself. I don't know. I'll ask Jeff Parker. I've got a meeting with him. I think he knows what's going on with that.
Oh, all right. Well, let us know how we can connect more, and definitely stay in touch. We really appreciate it.
Okay, will do.
Anne?
Thank you, and this is great.
No, thanks so much for staying up late. It's only 7 o'clock there now.
Yeah, it's only 7 o'clock.
Nice background.
Oh yes, thank you very much. Well, sometimes I can fool people, and they go, "Where are you? That's an amazing window." But if I pulled it back, you'd just see all of our laundry. So just in the basement, but just like yourselves, just in the basement. All right, you guys have a fine night. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.